Steve here with Integra Technologies, and in this short video, we'll get to learn more about Devon Bartling and his role within configuration management here at Integra Technologies. Let's go ahead and get started. Here with me today is Devon Bartling from the Configuration Management Department. Devon, thank you for joining me.
Hey, not a problem. Thanks for letting me join you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Well, I got a handful of questions for you, and if it's okay, let's go ahead and get started.
Yeah.
So my first one for you, are you originally from the Wichita area?
Yeah, I grew up in El Dorado in Leon, Kansas. It's about 30 minutes out to the west. And then I moved shortly after high school, moved out to Park City and kind of moved around in Wichita. So right now I'm back in Park City.
Back in Park City. Okay, so you're definitely from the area.
Cool.
Um, so where'd you end up going to school? Like high school, trade school, any of that kind of stuff, college, whatever?
So high school, I went to Circle High School. That's
Nope.
just outside of El Dorado and Towanda, Kansas.
Okay, okay.
And did some schoolwork in Butler Community College. And
Okay, very
I'm working
cool.
on getting some certifications right now. So
Awesome. What's your trying to get certifications in?
going into data analytics, trying to get some broader experiences.
Very cool. Ask where you doing that at? Is it somewhere
That's
local or?
That's through Coursera. They have some Google courses that they offer. So
Okay, very cool. That's awesome, Devin. Um, well, let's kind of move into a few questions about Integra here with you. So my first is, how long have you been with Integra?
I've been with Integra completely 11 years, 12 years if you include my time as a contractor.
Okay, so you've been here for a minute then.
Just a little bit.
Um, yeah. So, and what roles have you been here at Integra?
I started out on the test floor. I was out there about 6 months, moved to environmental for about 5 years, and took a mentorship uh, role there, helped out with a lot of the QDM stuff. Moved
Okay.
into test floor lead for about 2 years, was the DPA lab lead for 3 years, and then moved into CM here last June, so about 7, 8 months ago.
Okay. So you've been So you started off as a temp, then you came direct, then you environmental, then a lead on the test floor, and then the lab, and now you're in CM, right?
Yep.
Something like that.
Yep.
Wow. So you've moved around quite a bit. You've been in different departments. You've definitely experienced Integra in different areas,
Oh yeah.
which is great. So I actually want to dive into. Can you kind of tell me a little bit more about a day in the life of a configuration management specialist? Like, what do you do every day?
So they tell us not to answer that. We're supposed to be all secret. No, I'm just playing.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, gotta kill me later.
yeah, exactly. No, we do a lot of PO reviews. So when customers say, "Hey, we need this done," they'll send us the PO. We'll review it to make sure the money's right, to make sure any of the standards are up to date, that we have the correct standards. We help set up NRE lots. So if they say, "Hey, it's been X amount of time, we need to make sure your guys' testers, TPRs are good," we'll set up the NREs to make sure that happens. We do set up some of the routing and the flows. So if they say, "Hey, we need to run it through for this standard," and that standard says, well, we got to do an inspection with the testing it room hot, cold, with environmental. We put all those steps together so that way they have the test plan. We do those reviews, and then any of the standards or customer changes, we do a lot of the reviews for those to make sure we have the capability to facilitate those changes.
Okay. Um, so I want to dive a little bit more into this then. So you're saying you're checking the PO. So the PO comes in, and you guys are checking it to make sure that one, the dollar amount's right. Two, the whatever processes they want us to do, that we can do them. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yep.
Okay. And then from there, you guys build more or less the steps that we're going to go through out, or the devices will go through out here at Integra to meet that requirement.
Yep.
I feel like that's a really dumbed down version of what
A
you explained, but
little bit dumbed down, but yeah, that's boiling it down. Yeah, that's what we end up doing.
okay. So with that said, I mean, I guess how many over the course of, let's just say, a week. So over a course of a week, how many um, test plans would you specifically build? Or do you just like build bits and pieces and other people build bits and pieces?
It varies because it depends on how many POs come in. I think and how complex the POs are, because sometimes the customer will say, "Hey, we have one part number, it's 300 parts that we want room testing on and stay bake," which
Okay.
that's fine. But then we have some of the other customers that send us 30 part numbers, all on the same one. Each one tests a little bit differently, so we have to set up different routings for each of those. So one PO can have multiple routings, or one PO can just have one routing. Uh,
Okay.
but usually, whoever has the PO, we usually try to, if we do set up a flow or routing and we have to create a new one, if there's not one already built, we usually try to make sure whoever starts it finishes it so we don't have to pull up all the specs and all the customer stuff again. It kind of helps keep having to go back and forth and double up on work.
Okay. That makes sense. So, okay.
But
Okay.
they're probably in a week, maybe a new one, maybe 3 to 12. I know it's kind of a broad number, but
No, no, I get it, and I mean it goes back to that complexity piece that you're saying, right? If you got to build multiple legs to that, it's a lot more complicated versus just one, you know,
yeah.
set, right? So, okay, no, that makes sense. No, I appreciate that explanation. I think that really helps. Um, okay, so then my kind of follow up question with some of that stuff, because you have been here for a moment, is I'm sure there's somebody out there, whether they're here currently or maybe just in the future, that might want to move into the configuration management department. And they may not know where to get started, how that journey looks. I mean, you've definitely yourself have moved to 5 different departments.
Yeah.
Well, four, and then where you're at now, right? So that's the fifth. So with all of that said, what would you suggest to somebody that maybe new, maybe they've been here for a while, they're not sure what that path looks like to get to configuration management, to go there?
Ask questions, learn, take every opportunity you can, because that's where I got started. In environmental, they had a customer audit come through, and I asked if I could be a part of it. And they said, well, sure, you can go through when they ask about the ovens. And then they started bringing me in on FMEAs, and all those tie into CM because you have to know the standards for a lot of those, whether it's 883, 750, or the two common ones. Um, but yeah, getting to know your work, asking questions, and if you don't know, yeah, don't go and ask. I know that's everyone always hears it, but it absolutely applies with standards.
Okay, okay, that's fair. I appreciate that. Um, so now let's kind of move a little bit off of Integra. Let's kind of get to know you just a little bit. So my first question for you here is going to be, what is a hobby of yours? If you had to pick one, I'm sure you may have more than one, but if you had to pick one.
Oh, one, uh, don't want to go nerdy, don't want to go jockey, because I love disc golf, but I do love me some D&D too. So I
Okay,
let you pick which one you want to ask about.
okay. Let's go with let's see. How about disc golf? I know the season's going to be getting warmer here, so let's talk about outdoor stuff.
Perfect.
So, how long have you been doing disc golf for?
Oh, casually like 15 years, and then the past 3 years I've really been trying to get better, and I've actually started doing a couple tournaments.
Oh, okay, very
Yeah,
cool. So, do you just play with like some local people, by yourself, kids,
both.
family?
Like, cause when I started actually trying, I used to just either go by myself or with a couple buddies,
Okay,
but started getting the tournament scene and started talking to a lot of the shop owners, ended up meeting a lot of people. So probably about once a month with them. I'll meet up with some of those guys and we'll go out, but usually it's just myself, my brother, or a couple buddies.
Okay. What courses around here do you play at?
I like Oak Park's usually can't go wrong with that. That's downtown. There's an easier course, Eastminster. It's on the east side. I think my favorite though is out at Santa Fe Lake. You have to pay for the day pass for it, or if you have a lake pass, you can go out there. But that's called Knockwood. That one is extremely fun, but it's difficult, but it's fun, and
Okay.
got great scenery too.
Okay. So, how many frisbees have you lost in your adventure of disc golf?
More than I'd like to admit.
Okay.
But that got us started because we I lost one that I did not want to lose. So I went out in the water to find it, and my brother was with me. We found I think 12 others at that time while we were looking. And so for the past 2 years, we've gone out into the water every so often to find discs and either return them to their owners or donate them. So
Wow. So, I guess I'm kind of curious, but I would have figured that a frisbee like that would float and not sink.
they sink.
Are they just that heavy?
They're anywhere from about I want to say 150 grams to 180 grams. But it's just the plastic density is what it is. They do have a couple specifically made to float, but in general, unless it hits just right and you get an air bubble under it, they sink.
Okay. Okay. That's interesting. Okay, let's switch over to the next question here for you then. Um, what about a favorite TV show or movie? I'm
I
sure you
love
can pick a
Letterkenny.
bunch, so you got to narrow it down to at least. I'll give you like your top three.
Top three.
Top three.
Well, for TV shows, Letterkenny is definitely that's got to be number one. That I don't know. There's something about that weird dry humor that freaks me off, and the interaction between the different groups in the show. It's great.
Okay, so
Brooklyn
Letterkenny.
Nine-Nine, that's a good one too.
Yup.
Then I've been on a Lucifer kick, weird, supernatural.
Which
It's
those are completely different genres.
oh yeah, they are. There's some humor in it.
Good.
Kind of.
Okay. Okay.
Actually,
What about a favorite movie then? You named a few TV shows there.
Everything Everywhere All at Once, I think is probably my favorite one. It's
Really?
yeah, I don't know, it's
Hmm.
a crazy, chaotic movie that has a good story on the underline of it.
Okay. I've actually never seen it, but it always reminds me of man, I can't even think of the name of the movie now. Um, yeah, it'll hit me later, I'm sure. But okay, well then, my last one for you. My last question is: I always love to ask people, "What's your favorite candy bar?"
Say the Baby Ruth's, man. I love the chocolate with the caramel and all that on it. Oh, so good.
Classic Baby Ruths. Okay, okay. Well, Devin, hey, I appreciate you again taking the time to speak with me today. You have a great, wonderful day, and yeah, thank you.
You too. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Again, Steve here with Integra Technologies, and thank you for taking the time to watch this Have You Met Integra video series about Devon Bartling and configuration management. Stay tuned for additional Have You Met Integra video series videos.